Closed beta 3 for OnceHuman is live now, and a lot has changed. But before we are going into the details, let me make something very clear regarding the beta keys and how we will give them away. It's pretty simple actually. We will give them away this week, which is starting on, well, for me at least, starting on the 9th of April and is going up to the 12th of April. So that's the whole week for me. Why do I say this? Because this is when I stream and I will play quite a bit of OnceHuman on my streams. They were also happening on this channel. They start at 8 a.m. ET, which is 2 p.m. Central European time and 1 p.m. GMT, if you were interested. And I would just give away the keys we have in the streams. We would do it pretty simple. You can enter the giveaway when you are being drawn. Congratulations, you won a beta key. There is not much else really you have to do. So keep that in mind and keep an eye out for the live streams. The best way to do that is to subscribe to the channel, of course. Now that we have covered the thing you are actually here for, let's be honest here, you don't care for the rest, let's jump into what has changed in beta 3 for OnceHuman. Quite a bit actually. It's insane how much this game has changed from just January to, well, this now. They have completely changed, and this is one of the biggest changes, I would say, the deviant aspect. So you are still collecting deviants, right? And you put them into like a containment facility, but this time you don't really draw resources from them anymore. What you are now doing is every deviant has specific passives, has specific actives, and you can utilize them. So it feels a bit like Palworld in that regard. The developers have 100% played Palworld and realized, well, damn, we need that in our game, right? So that's what they did. That's what they did exactly. They put that into their game, and it feels all right. They are pals, which are just gathering resources for you. Do I really just call them pals? I'm so sorry. Deviants, who are just gathering resources for you, or which can help you in the fight. There's one which can create a barricade, or another one which can do auto attacks. And there's much more in the game, of course, the more you are playing. Another big change is that progress is not bound to the world bosses anymore. So previously, you have to defeat a certain world boss / dungeon boss to get into the next area of your tree, where you have like all the different things like weapons, building aspects, and so on and so forth. The cradle part, right? And they removed that. You do not have to kill certain bosses anymore to unlock certain parts of that tree, but now you just have to wait for the game to progress, so it's now bound to the season you were in. What I find interesting is that they now have a PvE and a PvP server, and the PvE server is mostly PvP free. I say mostly because there are still some word events which are sometimes forcing PvP on you. That is still occurring, but on the PvP server, they are now like more focusing on the PvP aspect, but there are also limits. Like if you think that you are going on a PvP server and you are getting murdered 24/7, that's not what's happening. They are still limited to opt in, right? You decide when you want to go PvP, and that's that. If you don't want to do PvP, you're good. And I actually, because of that, I would keep an eye out on the PvP servers on release, even as a PvE player, because while you were on a PvE server, I had some serious trouble to find some areas I could just claim for me and then later on expand my territory. On the PvP server, that was pretty simple to do. I had a lot of room. I now have a lot of room because some people also stopped playing, and it's so much better on the PvP server, right? Because less people are playing automatically there because they are thinking like, oh shit, I have to do PvP, which is not the case. So now you know that, so keep that in mind. Besides that, they have upgraded like tons of weapons, the interface, quests have been completely reworked. I would say the first part of the main quest line got completely replaced. Also, what they completely replaced, thankfully, is the voice acting and the models in the game. They made them look a little bit prettier, and the voice acting is now professional. Like in the previous beta, they said it themselves, hey, what you were hearing here, that's placeholder, and that's how it sounded. It was completely bonkers, right? It was so bad. It was comedical bad. And now they have actual professional voice acting in the game, and now what they are saying makes sense. It feels much, much better to watch a cutscene and listen to a quest NPC. Is it interesting? Not necessarily. It's still the old, hey, Cthulhu-esque beings have overrun the world, try to take it back, and everyone gives their own opinions how this shit happened. But it's not still not super compelling. But it's so much better than the previous beta. They also introduced a new feature called what is it called? The Everland, where, and this is what I'm still a little bit concerned about, where basically all your stuff will end up when the season ends. And this is a permanent world, but it's not like you would know from, let's say, Path of Exile or Diablo or something like that, where you have a realm which is permanently on, and then there are the season realms you can choose from. Like in this game, it really seems to be, at least in the beta right now, you have to play on the season servers, and then some of your stuff, like your house and some of your equipment and all that, is going to the Everland realm, which is an island where you can basically just look at the things. But it feels like I don't want to always reset every 3 months my progress. Like in an action RPG, I don't mind too much. In a survival game, I do mind. I do mind, right? Because I want to play on my own pace. I sometimes play with friends, and I just want to take my time. I don't really want to rush it. And so, yeah, I'm hoping there will be a permanent server option where you can just build, right? Like just having fun and do your thing and do the fighting, but you're not rushed to do anything in the season. You also get your mount faster. They changed some of the talent trees. They changed how the cradle system works. Like they did so much. I I barely recognize the game. Well, I do recognize the game, of course, especially some of the weird, cheesy bugs and glitches still exist. You can do. There are also a lot of Chinese text in this beta because it seems like they added a lot of the new things last minute. So yeah, you have a lot of like Chinese text where you are like, what is this saying? I don't I I don't understand. Can somebody explain this to me? It gets especially problematic when you have an item. Like I found an MP5 and it was all Chinese text. I was like, well, I don't know what this MP5 does, but it sounds cool. And then I realized what it was. It gives you a 30% chance per attack that the bullet is ricocheting to another enemy nearby, right? And so it's this, oh, that's what's doing, right? And you have that quite a bit in the game where you sometimes don't know what something does till you try it because again it's pretty new. They also changed the base defense, so now you are in control. When you are triggering a base defense, you have to build a certain building which is refining resources for you, and every time you do this refinement there will be waves and waves of enemies coming in for multiple minutes. You have to fight off till the refinement process is finished, or, well, the building is destroyed, which is doing the refinement. And I had one I had one early on which literally, like, I defended it barely, like, because I didn't really prepare at all for the defense. And I was going back into the room because, well, I won and I finished it, and I was like, what? Wait a minute. Where's the building? The the item is gone. What happened here? And then I realized that part of the floor was missing, and the building was basically one level below, and I had to go down. I was like, oh. So yeah, that happened, which was kind of funny. I didn't even thought that's possible in the game. So the item doesn't get immediately destroyed. It just gets one level deeper, which is nice. But yeah, like everything just feels so much better, and it's kind of frightening how much this game changed to the betterment in just 3 months. Like, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed Closed Beta 2. I really did. But Closed Beta 3 is such a huge improvement in comparison. Like, if you were not a fan of what you saw in the second beta, if it was like specific things, like not the core gameplay, the core gameplay hasn't changed. But if that was a problem for you, check out Beta 3. For everyone who hasn't yet, I think Beta 3 is a wonderful time to just jump in. Keep in mind now you need a beta key to do so, and we are doing some giveaways here, as I said. And yeah, like I can only say what I already said with CBT 2. When OnceHuman is coming out by the end of the year, it will have a huge impact. Like, it is crazy how good this game will probably be if they're keeping it the way it is right now. If they're keeping up the process, if they're keeping up the non-bullshit item shop, and they are listening to the community, right? So for me, I am really hyped for the release of the game. And now, if you will excuse me, I have to play a little bit more OnceHuman. Till then, thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, and I hope to see you next time. Bye bye.